Welcome to this session. Certified legal nurse consultants discuss their role with attorneys. I'd like to introduce you to two certified legal nurse consultants, Doreen Goldstein and Susanna Raj. Thank you, Doreen and Suzanne, for joining us here today. Certified legal nurse consultants provide 30 different types of services to attorneys. And I want to start with you, Suzanne. Can you share a few of those services that you provide most commonly to attorneys?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Suzanne. I commonly, most frequently, I am involved in record retrieval and compilation with my defense attorney clients. And then I move forward with reviewing those records and providing comprehensive analyses and standard of care reporting to them. And then equally, the primary service is assisting in discovery requests and answering requests for production of documents and special interrogatories.
Thank you. How about you, Doreen? What are some of the common services you provide?
Most of the services that I do are screening cases to see if they have merit or not, which is something that you'll learn in the program, whether or not the attorney goes forward with bringing the lawsuit. And I also do some brief report writing. So most of my reports are anywhere between 1 and like 5 pages for the attorneys. And I also do chronological timelines. So I will basically outline what happened to the patient during their hospital stay or throughout their treatment.
Great, thank you. And so again, just to kind of summarize, there's about 30 different services that certified legal nurse consultants provide. And it's kind of interesting because you mentioned one of my favorites, screening, Doreen. I like screening cases because not only are you involved from the beginning, helping that attorney to decide where to go with that case, and if you're on the plaintiff side, whether they should even be taking on that case. But also, it's such a satisfying role to take on because it's something you can usually check off your to-do list in the same day, unlike if you're writing a report or working on the case in a very comprehensive way. What are some of your favorites, Suzanne?
You know, I don't really have a favorite per se in terms of my services. I mean, it's all great. I mean, I think that as being a certified legal nurse consultant, we can do so many things, right? One of my favorite things, I guess, I mean, if you really think about it, is just when I have an opportunity to really only be totally immersed in one case. And that usually happens at the time of trial or mediation or arbitration or something like that. So what I can just totally focus on one case and not worry about anything else. And that's where I really enjoy, you know, helping the attorney client have a successful outcome.
Yeah, I really enjoy that comment because there is something about being able to focus on just one thing. And as you're saying, getting immersed in that. Mm-hmm. And for sure, that's going to happen at trial. How about you, Doreen? What's your favorite?
Well, screening, like you had said, is your favorite. I enjoy that because it's a surprise to the attorney either way. You know, they go in it saying, this is what happened, this is what we think. And you look at the records and say, actually, it wasn't that, it was this. So educating the attorney and also research. I never thought I would say that. And it still surprises me when I do say it. But learning about different disease processes or, you know, different ways clients can get injured, that's something that I really enjoy also. You know, you never stop learning as a CLNC, and it's kind of fun.
And you're getting paid to learn. And I think that's kind of an important distinction as well. You know, lawyers, they get paid to learn, right? They learn every day when they're handling cases and they have to research cases. And so we're a little bit like them in that way. Now, how would you say, Suzanne, that what you do as a consultant is different from working in a traditional healthcare setting?
Well, obviously we're doing, as you just mentioned, forensic review. That's completely different than when you're at the bedside, or even if you're in a management role, dealing with active problems that are going on in the moment, right, in a healthcare environment. So I think the biggest distinction is everything is forensic, everything, for me anyway. Even if the patient is still alive, you're doing everything retrospective. What happened a year ago? What happened 6 months ago? Whatever the case may be. And so I think that's the major distinction from my perspective that stands out for me in my role and in my practice.
How about for you, Doreen?
One of the biggest things that's different is you make your own hours. I can work when I want, where I want. You know me, Vicky, I like to travel. I like to go places, and it's portable. As long as I have my laptop, I can take my case with me on a plane. I can take it, sitting out by a pool at my daughter's house. So, that's something that, the hours, you don't have to worry about getting vacation time or holiday time, or it's a freedom.
And I know both of you have in the past commented on the autonomy, and I think that's a huge difference that a lot of times I hear from registered nurses. It's not that they're wanting to leave nursing. They just kind of want to do something a little more on their own terms, and the autonomy, getting to create their own business and tailoring that business around what they love to do, the types of attorneys they love working with. So there's 1,300,000 lawyers out there. If there's one attorney that, hey, they're not that happy with, they can move on. So I know that's one big difference. Now, what about commonalities? What do you see, Suzanne, in terms of commonalities to nursing?
In terms of commonalities, I think it's the clinical, honestly. We're always using our clinical minds. And that's what the attorneys are after, is our clinical expertise. So no matter if you're looking at it after the fact, you have to put yourself in that space. So oftentimes when I'm reviewing, I'm thinking about, okay, what if I was that nurse in that hospital or in that doctor's office, or if what was going on after a personal injury, a car accident, and you're in the ER, and whether or not you worked in that setting, what it happens. And so I think that is probably a commonality, even though you're not there actually doing the work, your mind is there.
Yeah, because the attorneys can read the medical records, but they can't read between the lines, right? They can read the lines in the medical record, but not in between the lines. And as you're suggesting, you've been there, you've done it. So you can practically visualize it when you review those records in a way the attorney really cannot imagine it. They've never worked in the OR, a long-term care facility, or a med-surg unit, or a psych unit. We definitely use our nursing process, and not just in analyzing the records, as Suzanne said, from a clinical perspective. But what I was surprised by is that we also use that nursing process to grow and develop our business. When you think about it, in business, you're going to meet challenges, and you're going to have maybe something that you're not expecting, and you're going to use those same skills, that assessment, diagnosis, planning, implementation, evaluation. It's something I'm so grateful for as a registered nurse. And the other thing that I love about our nursing background is, many of us have worked in environments where seconds make a difference in outcome. And so we really are able to be decisive. We're able to make decisions. We're able to get things done rapidly. We know how to get things done. I love nurses for that. And that will serve you in your business for sure. Is there a service, Suzanne, that you were surprised to be utilized for? Maybe something coming in you didn't expect to be doing for attorneys?
I think, yes. When I was asked, I do a lot of defense work. So this is something that's sort of unique on the defense side, where you're interviewing witnesses. So I was initially surprised that, I would be asked to do that. I just thought only attorneys could do that. but it actually makes sense, because what better than a nurse speaking with a nurse, right? We speak the same language. Even if you're speaking with someone who's not a nurse, someone in the clinical arena, we understand what those different roles are. And so I think initially I was surprised. Now it's just habit. But for sure. And I think, you know, on the plaintiff side still, I mean, you will have an opportunity to speak with the plaintiff if the attorney, you know, so wants you to do so, you know. But that was probably something initially I was a little bit surprised, because in my first year of practice.
On the plaintiff side, it's really important because a lot of times that plaintiff can enlighten you on things that don't find their way into the medical record. Because from a plaintiff perspective, a lot of times the plaintiff knows more than is indicated within that medical record. So I think interviewing the plaintiff is critical at the plaintiff side for sure. How about you, during any surprise services?
One thing that surprised me, Vicky, was after working with a client, they had asked me to participate in a mock trial. You know, I actually played the role of one of the defendants in a case. And it was very interesting to do that, you know, to sit back and be asked the questions and kind of answer how that defendant was going to answer, and to see the mock jury, you know, how they reacted. And it really helped that attorney to develop their case and develop their trial strategy. So I never thought I would be doing something like that. I mean, aside from being a lawyer, you know, playing the role of a lawyer, which wasn't something that I did. I was more of a defendant. It was really kind of fun and interesting.
One that I've heard from a few consultants also is actually being involved at the voir dire stage when the attorneys are actually selecting the jurors, which a lot of times nurses don't think of themselves as being valuable in that kind of role. But again, you know, nurses are really good at picking up on people. You understand people. I mean, you get people, you work with patients all the time. And so a lot of times the lawyers want your input there as well. When you're consulting, you're going to get in there and you're going to have to do some things that you haven't done before. So why is the CLNC certification program important at the beginning, Suzanne? In other words, why not just go out there and start telling attorneys I'm a nurse and I can consult with you?
Well, first of all, I think it's very critical, because the education is foundation to everything that we do. Everything we do day in and day out. I mean, we're nurses, right? And we can do anything, as Vicky says, but we know clinical, and we don't, unless you've already gone to law school, you know, you don't know the elements of a lawsuit. You don't know what the different basic foundational legal terms are. And if you don't understand that, you know, at a basic level, foundational level, no one's asking you to be an attorney, then if you don't know that information, you cannot fully comprehend what the attorney is seeking from you. Because not only do they want your standards of care, but they want to know the application to the attorney's case. And I'm a firm believer in having a foundational education as a certified legal nurse consultant, because you always have that curriculum to reference back to. If you have doing different kind of cases along the way, you need a refresher, like we all do. We take our continuing education courses to keep our RN license current. So be it. Do you have to have a point of reference from the legal nurse consultant standpoint as well, to look back to have mentors to seek out, to have the institute here to support you in your business practice as the years move forward.
So it's not a dress rehearsal. That's one way I always think about it, is that first attorney could be your most important attorney client. I know it was for me personally, and I hear that from so many consultants.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think is important for nurses especially to recognize is the word consultant implies that you know what you're doing, right? So you can't walk into the attorney's office and say, I'm a consultant. Oh, but by the way, can you tell me what I'm supposed to be doing for you here?
Mm-hmm.
So they do expect you to know what you're doing. Doreen, are there any services that proved to be easier than you thought? I mean, for example, you said that you really like report writing, and I've heard so many beginners stress over writing reports. Why would that be something that's easier than most people think it's going to be?
Because it's all up here in our head. You know, we know what happens. We know what they were supposed to do. So it's basically just putting your thoughts on paper, you know, and you're not giving them something that you don't know. You know, how if you've been a nurse for 6 months or 6 years, you know what happened. And so it's just getting that process or getting your thoughts on paper in a way that helps the attorney and helps them educate. So report writing is certainly something that turned out to be a heck of a lot easier than I thought. It's like writing a narrative nursing note. And yes, I'm an old nurse. We don't write as many narrative nursing notes anymore. Now it's just checking boxes off in the computer. However, you still write event notes. So it is something that it's a lot easier than you would think.
Suzanne, any services that were easier than you thought they would be?
Obviously, testifying is it kind of circles back to being able to focus on one case. And I think that, you know, when I first got certified and I was attending the course, because back in those days, you know, everything was live, and I heard the word testifying expert, you know, my first knee-jerk response was, oh, not me, never, 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 right? But, and sure enough, I testify, and I think it was more the nerve, you know, the nerves, overcoming the nerves in playing that role the first few times. Now, yeah, do I enjoy it? Yeah, when I'm solid on my opinion and I'm at the ready, you know, I don't, haha, it's fun, but I do enjoy, and I get satisfaction out of being able to be heard by the court and heard for my opinions, and I can support those opinions.
That's a good one, because, you know, I just interviewed a certified legal nurse consultant today, and she said that an attorney actually really encouraged her to testify. She had no intention of getting involved as a testifying expert. She was going to work strictly behind the scenes, which certainly you can do. But she's actually, like, as you're suggesting, she really enjoyed the process. She got a lot of satisfaction off of it. And it is a different way of engaging a case. There's no question about that. And I suspect, Suzanne, that you're at the ready 100% of the time. Doreen, how do you, as a mentor to certified legal nurse consultants, a mentor for the Institute, how do you help to expand the role of especially the beginner certified legal nurse consultants?
I think what we offer, amongst other things, is we help them because we know we've been there. You know, we've made those mistakes. We can walk them through the process and say, okay, you know, what have you done? Let's talk about this. I mean, we don't have that set of medical records in front of us, but we can talk through it and say, okay, have you done this? This is what we think will work. So it's just going through, making sure that they have all their ducks in a row and helping them talk through the process. It's not like being in the hospital where you have another fellow nurse beside you and you can say, hey, can you look at this patient? You know, we're their eyes and ears. So let's talk it through.
Your experience becomes their experience.
Yeah.
How about you, Suzanne?
I think in addition that we are able to give them a lot of encouragement and reassurance, because it is scary, you know, going out there into something new that you've never done before at first. And because we've been there, we're able to provide words of encouragement, and also in the same breath, giving advice and then holding them accountable, helping them break it down. Okay, what did you do to work on your business today? You know, did you make 5 calls to prospective attorney clients? This kind of thing. reminding them of the resources that they do have, even though they may have said, well, I already looked at the, business module, or I already looked at the marketing module. Okay, so how many people did you market to? Well, 5. Well, did you know there's 1.3 million attorneys? I mean, not that you have to mail out 1.3 million marketing packets, no, but how are you researching those firms and making them do the analysis, if you will, or the catalog of what steps did I really take, and were they efficient, and did I really study that or target that firm appropriately? That's just an example. So I think helping them drill down and reminding them of what needs to be done in order to gain that first attorney client.
Thank you. A way to think about this is, as a registered nurse, you're like the insider of that healthcare system, right? You know what goes on that attorney doesn't know. And if you take that experience and combine it with the education through the CLNC certification program, that's what's going to help you to be able to offer these different services and take on that role of the certified legal nurse consultant. And I know today this was just an opportunity to kind of share some quick ideas with you on what that role might look like. If you'd like to know more, please contact the office. You can check out the website at legalnurse.com, or you can call the office and they're happy to work with you. And Suzanne and Doreen, thank you so much for joining me here today.